What's up, everyone? Welcome to the January 31st edition of DraftKings Tournament Plays presented by Prize Picks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can find me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, you get one free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit at Prize Picks. Be sure to use the code Awesemo to receive a 100% first deposit bonus up to $100. Today, we're going to take a look at 5 of the top tournament options on DraftKings. We have an 8-game slate, so as usual, be sure to keep an eye out for injury news. Be sure to tune in to the deeper dive and live before lock leading up until lock. But for right now, taking an early look at 5 of the top tournament options. Starting at number 5, Marcus Smart, projected for 7% ownership with an 8% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Smart's not the highest upside option in tournaments, and he doesn't have a particularly appealing matchup tonight against the Miami Heat either, but he is very favorably priced on DraftKings at only $5,300. Smart can give you 32 to 34 minutes if everything goes, works out in his favor. And he's around a 0.8 fantasy point per minute guy this season, 0.85 DraftKings points per minute overall. So just kind of a price point where it's a little bit cheaper than it should be. And he can get there on the back of steals or, overly efficient shooting. But at 5,300 projects pretty well and isn't getting much ownership. Number 4, Clint Capela, projected for 4% ownership, 8% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's center only. He's $6,300. Capela's playing time has been a bit sporadic recently, so you can't really trust him to play more than 30 minutes. You're lucky if he gets to 30 minutes based on recent rotations. You're more so expecting him to play around 26 minutes or so. But at the reduced price tag and very low ownership, this is a spot that I think is pretty appealing to take shots on in tournaments because we know that Capella comes with a high ceiling. He's averaged 1.14 DraftKings points per minute this season. And in 26 minutes at this price, he could certainly just give you an acceptable score. And then there's always a non-zero chance that he plays more minutes than that for one reason or another. I like getting to him at the reduced price tag and reduced ownership. Number 3, Klay Thompson, projected for 7% ownership with a 10% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He is $6,000 shooting guard only, taking on the Houston Rockets. This game has the highest total on the slate by a pretty wide margin. Golden State is a double-digit favorite on the road, but we can expect Thompson to play around 26 minutes one way or another. Golden State typically gives him his fourth quarter minutes regardless of the score. And we know that Thompson's not afraid to come out there and shoot the ball a lot. This is a fast-paced game, so getting 26 minutes or so from Thompson can be closer to getting, 28, 29 when you consider the number of possessions that are likely to be had by Golden State. So Thompson looks like a relatively high upside option at his price tag that isn't getting much ownership. Number 2, Jaren Jackson Jr., once again playing without Dillon Brooks. He's been a productive player this year without Brooks on the floor. There's more usage to go around for Jackson, more usage available for Morant, as we know. And if he can avoid foul trouble, you're likely to get around 30 minutes from him going up against Philadelphia. Only projected for 9% ownership, 11% chance of being in the optimal lineup. He's only $6,700, and he has power forward eligibility in addition to center eligibility on DraftKings. And number 1, coming in as the top tournament option for me, the way things look right now, Ja Morant, only projected for 9% ownership with a 12% chance of being in the optimal lineup. Morant is $10,100 on DraftKings, point guard only, but you're likely to get 34 or 35 minutes from him at least. Tyus Jones is questionable tonight. If Jones sits, you could certainly see a couple more minutes from Morant as well. But even in 34 to 35 minutes without Dillon Brooks, you can expect a big game from Morant. This is a pretty fair price point. I think there is still some upside available here, and you're not getting much ownership going to Morant. So to recap, the top 5 tournament options on DraftKings as things currently stand. Number 5, Marcus Smart. Number 4, Clint Capela. Number 3, Klay Thompson. Number 2, Jaren Jackson Jr. And number 1, Ja Morant.